Hey guys, so time for some more CDs. I'm continuing through my Coheed and Cambria collection, so starting off with Year of the Black Rainbow. As I've said before, Coheed and Cambria is a concept band, and all of their albums aren't necessarily continuing the same story, but they take place in the same universe. This was a sort of prequel to all of their previous albums. It has a little bit more of a industrial side to it. It's produced by Atticus Ross, who's known for his work with Nine Inch Nails. And apparently a lot of people didn't really like this album. I think it's a pretty solid album, though. Here's the book. Can't remember if I showed you the back of it, but there it is. So these next two are some of my favorite Coheed and Cambria albums. Not quite my favorite, but definitely up there. We have the Afterman, Ascension, and Descension. I'd say these are a little bit less heavier than their previous albums. Gets a little bit more experimental, although I'd say Coheed and Cambria is currently in their most experimental era, but these are some pretty solid albums. I love the album artwork for these two. I slightly prefer the artwork for Ascension, but in general, the artwork for these are pretty cool, pretty great. I've actually never listened to these CDs. I have both of these albums on vinyl. They also include the CDs, and the reason why mainly is all that's holding these in is this really big glue dot. And it's really hard to get the CD off, and I'm kind of worried it's going to wear over time. So I just don't really want to fuck with that, you know? And take a look at the art in the book, because like I said, I really love the art for these albums. Take a look at Ascension. Like I said, same thing as last time. That fucking glue dot to hold CD in. Here's a look at the booklet. More really great artwork. So when I got these albums, it was actually part of a big bundle that I got with both albums on vinyl plus these CDs. And the reason why I did that is because, you know, I mean, of course I like listening to music on vinyl, but for the vinyl, they didn't include very much of this artwork. And like I said, I just really dig the art for these. Next, this is their second most recent album, title, let me pull out the disc, that'll probably give it to me, because well, I've said this before, but Coheed and Cambria is kind of known for really crazy, long titles. Let's try the booklet. I was just calling it Unheavenly Creatures, but I know there was a longer title, just like Vaxxess Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures, I think is what its full title is, but yeah, I'm holding it right. That's the outside. The inside, I think it's supposed to go this way. Here's the disc itself. So yeah, Coheed and Cambria has been getting into kind of a more of a, I don't know what that noise was. Coheed and Cambria has been getting into kind of more of what I call a space rock direction. Oops, actually that's not even the full thing. Of these Coheed and Cambria's more recent space rock albums, as I'm calling them, this one's, I'd say, a little bit more aggressive, little bit more on the raw side. And I do have their more recent album, which is my favorite Coheed and Cambria album overall, but I only have that on vinyl. So we're moving on to Daft Punk then. This is their first album, Homework. A lot of people love this album. I think it's a tad overrated. I always found the song Defunct like ridiculously overrated. But I mean, it's still got some solid bangers on here. Of course, Around the World's a classic song. One of my favorite music videos, actually. But there's the disc and the inside. And that's pretty cool there. This fold out booklet, like how we have little pieces of art for every song on here. And there's the back of it. Here's the track list if I didn't show you that. Next up we have Discovery. This is another one of their most popular albums. It's a great album to start off with from Daft Punk. This is when they started getting into more disco type music. It's fun, it's dancey, catchy, still pretty heavily electronic based. I really like the insert on this. I like all the colors they have for the lyrics and, you know, the photography and whatnot. I've even for some reason always liked the look of this little explanation of how to download this additional content. It's got this on the back, which I have no idea what direction it's supposed to go, but it's got that picture on it. And then we have We Are Human After All. This, I think, is an underrated album because a lot of people don't like it, but I do like it. It's more of a electronic rock album. It's a little bit more guitar heavy. And that looks like a black disc, but it actually has their logo and some other legal information faintly printed on there. Book. And this is my personal favorite album of theirs. Their final album, Random Access Memories. This, for the most part, kind of drops their electronic roots. It's more organic. I love the classic Columbia Records disc that they did. It's a plain black background. But they still have plenty of synthesizers and whatnot. Very analog sound to it that has going for it, which is always cool. Always like the look of that weird synthesizer or organ. Not entirely sure what that is because you don't really see double layered keyboards like that often with synthesizers. That's more of a organ thing. And lastly, I'm going to show Miles Davis kind of blue, a classic jazz album. The only Miles Davis that I have, though. I really like to get Bitches Brew, some of his other works. Another classic red Columbia disc. We'll take a look at the book, which has a lot of writings on the album, photography, and all that good stuff. Here's the back of it. Yeah, definitely check out Kind of Blue if you want to get into some jazz. It's a great starting point. And that is all that I'm going to be showing for today. So, yeah, I will continue on next week.